My people were biologically determined for one purpose alone, to sense the coming of damn fine podcasts. I sense it coming now.
Alright, hello, you person listening to this. Welcome
Hey,
to
you out there in the cold.
Hey, you. Hey, how's it going? I hope you're okay. I don't want you to freeze to death. Anyways, welcome to a Discovery Home Companion. We're talking about Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, yeah.
You will never be able to podcast as good as us. Your tongue is too human.
Yeah, my name is Wade Bowen, and with me, as always, is James Nolan.
Hey, guys.
And Hugh Crawford.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not much. I just watched this TV show I hadn't watched before. Maybe you heard of it. It's called Star Trek Discovery.
Tonight aired the third episode of the first season, and all of us, the three of us, are pretty anxious to get into it. So I'm going to just jump into the IMDb description real quick, and then we'll unpack this thing. Burnham finds herself aboard the USS Discovery, where she quickly realizes things are not as they seem, including the mysterious Captain Gabriel Lorca. This one, I don't know who wrote this particular, like, line by line. Who wrote this episode?
It was the showrunners, yeah, and one other person.
They wrote.
Wait.
Yeah, they wrote the teleplay and the story.
According to Memory Alpha, it is a story by Brian Fuller, Gretchen Berg, and Aaron Harberts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then
Teleplay by Gretchen Berg, Aaron Harberts, and Craig Sweeney.
It makes sense that Fuller still, because, I mean, it would be kind of a dick move not to give him story credit, because he clearly had still been talking. I bet a lot of these are still going to get story credit by, like.
And you can sue. Like, if he has something very similar enough, he could sue for.
I would say I'd hope we keep getting those story credits by Brian Fuller, because that means they're keeping. Maybe at this point, if they don't have those, it means they're going off book from his idea and going wildly somewhere that maybe he didn't.
Well, listen, this episode works as sort of like a second pilot for this.
Oh, yeah. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about, teleplay, but did you notice who directed this one?
Yes, Gold, your favorite guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually, to tip my hand a little bit, I'm not going to shit talk him that bad tonight.
Yeah, I didn't have I didn't have a problem with the any of the TV directing or how the camera told the story or anything like that. Other than,
are we excluding special effects?
I mean that didn't bother me so
I think
much.
the Ragnar looked pretty.
You have a 4K television and everything looks weird on that.
Yeah, like it looked fine on my old school plasma, like not 1080p. It looked fine.
Exactly.
I think that was a Klingon Targ, if you ask me.
No, it wasn't a Targ.
No, it's a Ragnar from Star Trek Force Awakens.
Yeah.
The Ragnar is all tentacles and shit and mouths. This thing had
mouths and tentacles. That's all I saw.
It was a quadruped. It had 4 legs, though.
This was the most joyless 45 minutes of Star Trek that I've ever seen.
Oh my God, yes, I hated this episode.
You guys are assholes. I liked it. And the people that don't watch Star Trek that were here with me were like, I like this. I'm on board.
Okay, that it brings me to a different question. Who is this for? I mean, this is no way an indication of where the entire series is. The entire series is going.
Whoa.
But this particular episode was a joyless sack of dour plot
Cadet
movement.
Tilly was so much fun. She was great.
I got one piece of joy from it. It's when he said, like, he's got fucked up eyes. I don't know. I assume they're making a joke because because Kirk had that like straight eyelight on all the cool scenes. And so
think that was
it was like that they didn't light his. I think they're setting him up to be an anti-Kirk.
Maybe that's the inside joke, but I think the other thing is he's got a fucking disability from from that fucking torch they lit in the first pilot.
Am I supposed to just believe that he's Tom Berenger from Platoon?
Sure.
And she's going to be she's Charlie Sheen. And she's going to have to find Willem Dafoe from Platoon.
Confession here. I haven't seen Platoon.
No,
You've never seen Platoon?
you can be
Yeah,
brought
I
up to
know.
speed with the Mad Magazine version.
Yeah,
But,
like, it's Oliver Stone. It's probably one of its better works, I guess. Maybe
It is his
Hey,
best. It's his best.
Star
movie.
Trek Nemesis at least had the fun buggy scene. This didn't have anything that was.
Yeah, I like this. This was like, oh right, this is what I want from the show. I knew it was going to be
Really?
like a little. I knew that the show was going to be a little overly serious.
And I don't mind the characters starting at the bottom and trying to work their way up. I don't mind a redemption
I
story.
also wanted to point out, like, you were wrong when you told me, when you lied, and I got all pissed off because you said it was 4 years later. It's only 6 months later.
I already wrote that on Twitter. Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I was
he
just
already-
reading what I read, but I read wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, we're giving you credit. You got your 2 on the predictions meter. You're 2 up.
Well, and last
You are
week
2 in the
we
hole.
said that this wasn't a mystery box show.
What follows here is 6.5 excruciating minutes of bitter arguing over the definition of a mystery box. You should thank us for sparing you from this. It will probably be thrown up on the Patreon for masochists who are into that kind of thing. You know who you are.
All right, so it's seemingly all the cards are on the table
Yes.
about what this show's about, except for the fact that
We don't know there's room for some more turns later on.
Right, but you know, and that's good to leave those open.
Sure.
yeah. I mean, that's effective storytelling. Let's all do we
Yeah.
want to go around and say what we liked, why we liked it,
Yeah, I think that's a
and
good
then we
idea.
can go through and hope that what our hopes are for the future.
Right.
Is that a good format?
Because I'm confused why y'all, because you know, I was watching it with people that don't care about Star Trek, and my girlfriend is one of them. But she's like, oh wait a minute, I think I like this show.
You start first. You liked it, so let's start with positivity. Always start with positivity.
Well, yeah, it could be. Well, one, when they didn't jump 4 years into the future, and I thought the writing was a lot less "yes, Captain," or like that first episode we talked the last podcast about how we didn't like how kind of half-fisted the writing was. I didn't think
We did talk about that.
I thought it was serious. The characters are all there. It did have comic relief in the Cadet Tilly stuff, and
Oh my
I knew
god.
I thought that was going to drive me crazy, but I actually liked
you hated
it.
Cadet Tilly? Because I hated Adam Rapp.
Really, I liked Adam Rapp a lot too. 'cause
Anthony Rapp.
Yeah. I liked him a lot.
Keep going. Positivity. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just talking about details now because again, I got into this last time. I mean, I'm an emotional cell. I want to like it, and I'm not nitpicking all these issues. It had a mystery to it, and they actually solved some of it. I thought Jason Isaacs was fantastic.
Oh, I thought he was great.
Yeah.
You know, for a British guy to do it. You know, I'm from Alabama originally. James and I went to high school in Tennessee. I get real sensitive about Southern accents.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, like,
yeah. Walking Dead's a mixed bag, folks.
yeah. And you know what? I thought he was fantastic. He's fucking great.
Yeah. I'm the same way with the accents. I'm more Midwestern than, you know, being from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got all heated about Ozark, the Jason Bateman show.
Right.
Because I spent a lot of
that's where you
right. So I'm with you with that with the accents thing. But so Jason Isaacs was great, and that's really not surprising, is it?
No, I mean we knew he was going to be great, but we were all like, "Why is he doing a Southern accent? Just let him be Jason Isaacs." But
Yeah,
you know what?
It was all right.
Yeah, like, but
Well, I mean, I think that if you do,
I like the weird shit. Like,
okay, like I don't want to be a total dick on this, but I once he started talking and some of the mannerisms, I don't know if I think there's something about his performance in this strikes me as very close to a John Hamm like performance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing.
Oh,
part of me was wanting to kind of see John. Like once I thought of that, I was like, they play in the same sort of sandbox, and I don't know if I would like to have seen John Hamm try to take this on, but I like it. I'm not. Jason Isaacs is good. I do think that if he was in a British accent, it would be a little bit too much traditional, like nasty Brit villain.
Right.
They used to make Jaguar commercials about.
Yeah.
So I think I'm glad they pulled back on that a little bit.
I love that he has a tribble on his desk. Like I was
and
like,
Gorn.
huh?
He's got a Gorn skeleton in his
Oh,
office.
saw that and I was like, what kind of skeleton is that? whatever. The Gordon thing, I don't like. I knew that there were going to be triples on the show, and I was rolling my eyes every time I heard that there were going to be triples. But if it's just like a desk piece, if it's just like a paperweight that he keeps there, and they'll bring it up later.
I bet they'll bring it up when Rainn Wilson's on the show. He'll steal it.
Oh God. But I you know what? I don't mind that if it's an affectation. It's just a thing that he likes to have on his desk. I actually
do you know what made me roll my eyes till I almost strained them?
Tell me.
Fortune cookies.
No,
I like the fortune cookies. I like the fact that it's like his Southern family used to make fortune cookies. It's the future, in the like 100 years ago. They talk about back when we still cared about like capitalism and stuff. My family sold these. I like that kind of touch of kind of just world
it's connective,
building.
it's connective tissue to our present day.
Sure, that doesn't bother me.
But
what I rolled my eyes on was my mother Amanda used to read to me with my brother or with her son.
With her son, she doesn't say my brother.
No, she says with her son.
And
she said that we were the only two humans there, which leads you to believe that Spock was treated as a human. Oh no, she meant
she's talking about her and Amanda. I like that. Like
it makes sense.
We already know.
But she had to mention Spock.
We already know that the show's making her Spock.
I know,
brother.
but it's yet again they're trying to rebuild connective tissue.
But they did it well because they're like, wait a minute, because they bring up early on, like, wait, Lorca said you were Vulcan, and they're like, no, I'm not Vulcan. That's a thing they keep bringing up in the episode over and over again. It's like, wait, you're not Vulcan. And it's like, and she's like, yeah, I'm not. And the fact that she brought up Amanda, like that
doesn't bother me. It's the Spock. It's that they have to do the fan service on every little.
Yeah, it's shoehorned.
But you knew that was there. That's not a thing. That's just like you knew that they didn't do it gratuitously.
You were waiting for the other shoe to drop, weren't you?
I am. Yeah. We all know that the back of his head is going to be shown in something. Or there's going to be little baby Spock in a flashback. Or
maybe,
something.
But like the fact is, if they revealed that, and I didn't know that they already had that like laid out I've already had time to get over the fact that she's Spock's adopted sister. The fact that they reference it isn't going to ruin every episode for me.
Sure.
And they thought they referenced it rather well because,
but I mean,
honestly, to me, the Amanda Burnham relationship is so much more interesting than her and Sarek, and I think it was for Brian Fuller too, because in the lead up to the show, he never talked about Sarek in reference to anything. He said, I was really into...
I know we've known about it forever, but in the show, I'm still just fucking irritated that they have to tie her in so closely to some Kirk era shit, and that bothers me.
Okay.
But it re-bothers me while I'm watching it in context.
So is that one of the things that you don't like about this particular episode? Is that what we're doing? Kind of
No. I mean, no.
You just managed to slip it in.
The one thing that...
I give that a freebie.
The one thing that almost made me roll my eyes was when she started quoting Alice in Wonderland.
Oh my God!
Well,
yes,
I have a lot of thoughts about that.
And I
was not feeling that when that happened, and I did not care for it at all. It really took me out of it.
It was like,
and it made me think that if I was having a better time, like if I'm in a better mood or I'm with the story more, I will allow certain things. I can get on your team about a moment like that if the episode's tone helps me along the way. But this episode did nothing.
When she tosses a book to Cadet Tilly and is like, well, I know exactly what fucking book that is. It's Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? Like, if they had led with like, oh, here's a book, and then quoted it later, I would have been like, oh, okay. But like that quote was so, it was the same like when she's talking about like the Klingon light bringing vessel or whatever.
Sure.
Torch, when she's like, oh, it's like sculpture, it's like crystallized thought or whatever. We all rolled our eyes at that because it was heavy-handed. Look, I'm a writer, and that's what that felt like the Alice in Wonderland thing was. But if they had led with like, oh, I'm really into this book, and then she quotes it later, I would have been primed not to roll my eyes when it came up.
What was the Garth Marenghi thing that I sent you? Like, I know some authors who use subtext and they're all cowards. That's immediately what I thought of when that happened.
I got to admit that I want to use this as a springboard on. I believe that the line by line writing was just as bad, if not worse, than in the pilot. The line by line writing. I'm not talking about the plotting here.
I disagree because I felt like the scenes with Sarah.
I thought that a lot of the conversation with the with the tough guys on the ship. A lot of the conversation. I mean, I was early on, and then when she's in the Jeffries tube and quoting that thing,
that's the one
I'm
thing.
like, yet again, this is writerly horseshit.
The prisoner thing didn't bother me. I mean, it was clear what they were
familiar. Saying. That's all. Everything's so familiar.
That's my point. It's tropey as shit. Like all the
it's not actual like Star Trek was like the original has ever been afraid of playing with tropes.
They had Abraham Lincoln show up in fucking space. You tuned in every You tuned in every week. You didn't know what you were gonna get. So whenever you have something that in every scene feels familiar for one reason or another, it's a little disappointing.
I'm gonna compare. Okay, so this is my general thought: is that I don't hate it.
Neither do I. I just didn't like this particular part of the story.
Also, like, I feel like that I'm 3 episodes in. I'm 3 episodes in, and I feel like this show is being run by like every dude. I'm going to slip into a sports analogy. You get a player, and he's the best player in his county. And you get him. He gets noticed by the regionals, and eventually gets scouted for like a professional gig. And then he goes into this farm system. And what they'll say is that we've taught him everything we can. We've coached him. We've given him every technique, and he does it. He shows up, he works hard, and he does it. But he's still a 290 hitter in the minor, which means he's not going to go pro. And I felt like there's something about that in television where you can have a shitty, just awful fucking piece of shit show. Like whatever. And then, but you can get some people and you can coach it up and you can give it all of the life and all of the things, but it's still a network show. And it needs like a stroke of genius or something like, and that's an intangible. What that player that's batting 290 in the minors doesn't have that Mike Trout has. That's not someone. No one's going to tell you that part, and no one's going to tell you what
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Mike Ehrmantraut.
Okay, I don't get your sports references, but I know breaking. I know TV.
Mike Trout. But let's go with Mike Ehrmantraut. What Vince Gilligan had in that show that made it work, or that what David Chase or what these people have. And I want it to have that, and it wants to have that. It wants to be, and I hate that they cast a prominent Battlestar Galactica actress in the show, but when you watch her, you go, they want this to feel like Battlestar Galactica.
Which actress?
The chief of security was Apollo's wife.
Oh, okay.
And they want it to be.
Well,
they want it to be that. And
I don't know.
And there's something about it that's keeping it from working.
So you saw a Battlestar actor and said, "Oh," and then that set you off.
No, I'm saying
you're so easily triggered, James.
Yeah. No. That's what I'm saying.
Let's give because like I mean everybody. Let's assume that we're all approaching this in good faith.
I don't know if it feels like y'all are. I don't. Yeah.
No. I had a good time. I had a pretty good time with the first 2 episodes. I mean, there were some problems with it. It wasn't a perfect thing. It wasn't like a perfect thing.
I thought it was kind of tight. Yeah.
I liked them too, but I liked this one more because we finally saw the goddamn ship, and I like that she's starting. I was afraid they were gonna make her like a officer at the beginning and just bring her on and say you're the guy, I'm the captain now or something like. But she's like it's starting where she's in disgrace, and she's building herself up, and I like the relationship with Saru where he's just like, look, I like you, but like I'm afraid of you, and so I'm not here to be your friend.
I think he works. I like him.
He works.
I think he works.
Sure.
And I like Doug Jones showing up like fuck you, man. You're a fucking mutineer. Crunch his numbers for me.
Oh my god, how many times did they say mutineer in this episode?
Oh my god, yeah, they did.
Well,
they did.
Because that's what she's known as. It makes sense. She's the first mutineer in all of Star Trek.
They have to say it 30 times?
Yeah, because it's a big deal that she's the first mutineer in Starfleet. Because
oh my god,
we're on our way to these evolved humans. Like it's a big enough deal that people call her that all the time because that's like it's like a slur because she's done the thing that nobody else has done to disgrace herself. We shit on her all the time because she turned on her captain weirdly.
Sure. And a lot of people are upset that this story is primarily about somebody who's supposed to be smart and did a dumb thing. Something. Yeah. But I mean, I guess what the most interesting thing about this is that you have a central character who is on a path to redemption, right? Mm-hmm. Right? That's the point of the show, is that there's some sort of like redemption in the face of adversity, that you're supposed to root for. But other than that, I'm trying to get a grasp on what its sort of point of view the show have.
What is exciting about the show is what I don't really know. I get the plot, but I don't get what there's an intangibility to shows, and some shows, Star Trek's generally, everybody always points out, has to find them eventually in some sort of chemistry of the cast and some sort of mojo of that that offsprings from that.
Because I thought the cast
from right now, I'm just not sure. Like, there's the plot. And then there's this, what I'm trying to talk about with this Mike Trout deal, is there's an X factor in a show that makes you feel like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm watching next level shit. And I don't get that from them.
I'm not going to say this is set me off like Breaking Bad did, but it's good, I thought. I don't know. The characters are the relationships are well set up. I like Saru and Burnham. I liked Cadet Tilly. Y'all complained about it being so serious. It's she's the comic relief, and she's good at it.
I didn't laugh once at Tilly.
Give me your Tilly stuff. I want to hear your opinions on Tilly.
Well, it just felt familiar. I feel like this is
It felt like a Brian Fuller show to me. This is that kind of character from Pushing Daisies or something. That's kind of the happy-go-lucky, kind of quirky character or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's what sort of irritated. I guess, that she was so affected with everything that she was doing. It felt like I was super aware of her acting, I guess. So I just didn't care for the particular performance. There's nothing but there was nothing in the character that bothered me. I especially like the end where she said, "You don't know, not too many people know this about me, but
that's what I was.
But I'm going to be a captain one day." I loved
that's
that.
Good writing.
I loved that, and I'm on board for it.
I have a secret. It is that I have a huge amount of hidden confidence. That's what I felt like it was saying, and that I liked. That was a legitimate character reveal.
But all the other stuttering and stammering, I'm allergic to. Maybe I just don't like nebbish people who are allergic to stuff. It feels so overly familiar. I just felt like everything was so. I'd seen it before in a different movie or TV show. It felt very tropey. I don't know. It felt dour and tropey. I guess that's my problem with this particular episode.
Can we talk about what I think is the tropiest person? Is Anthony Rapp, all the way to making a giant publicity clickbaity deal about he's in a gay marriage and have his he's not a gay marriage and have his partner killed.
That wasn't his partner. That wasn't Wilson Cruz. That was his
scientific partner.
That was his professional partner. That was not his partner. That was his partner in his whole scientific endeavor. So he's close to him. So he had that kind of banter, but that wasn't his partner.
That wasn't the person he was flirty talking with in the phone?
He was flirting talking with him because he's been his friend for years.
Well, all right.
Okay, so that didn't have emotional impact, so I like that shit even less.
What the fuck? No, whoa. I never said it didn't have emotional impact. That's his.
No, I'm saying it doesn't.
Because he wasn't his boyfriend?
Yes, because he didn't lose a life partner.
If you're involved with the person if you and I, James, were scientific geniuses working on something and we were talking and bantering, and if we were both gay and had a little flirty, but maybe we hooked up in the past, but we're over it now, but we have a very close relationship, and then you died, there's still emotional stakes in there.
But then the next episode, you're telling me that they're going to bring some other character on,
the guy that he lives
to be this guy's life partner.
Just because he's got another part of his life that we haven't seen doesn't mean it's a shit.
It means that he didn't sacrifice. It means that as much you
can have a lot of you can have a lot of relationships that are disturbing.
You're right. That's fine. You're right. You can. By the dictates of story, I don't know what I think you're just a fan. I think you're just a fan
that's true,
of this. I'm not. I mean, I there's parts I like and parts I don't like. But right now, I'm just kind of waiting for it to I don't really like.
I'm very interested in what it has to say.
Something that makes
what it has to say. What is its point of view? I'm trying to figure that out. Like what? And it's only like the third episode. And like, how many episodes do we have this season?
15.
What separates this from what's that show set in St. Louis? Defiance or 100 or the Colony or any of these sort of sci-fi oriented.
Have you watched any of those
network shows? I've watched more of the 100 than I want to admit, and I've watched the show set in St. Louis one episode
because I haven't watched any, so I can't tell you what the difference is because I don't watch those.
So I'm trying to like figure out and I don't watch the show that it's probably that everybody's going to call in and say who's like the hallmark pinnacle of sci-fi right now is that other show,
Expanse.
I've watched The Expanse. This is not The Expanse yet. It's still Star Trek. It's like, The Expanse.
But I do have a feeling it's going to say something about the exploratory nature of the Federation versus the nature of war, and because they're setting up the characters to contrast those two things. So, I feel like it's going to say something. Like it has a point it's going to arrive to, and I'm interested to see where that goes.
Right.
They do have that loaded context line. This used to be the all want and everything slipped away. Yeah. It's coming back, the want and hunger, and it's coming back, though, thanks to you.
Yeah.
That was a line that What's-His-Face said. So, I mean, that seems like loaded with intent. There's just... Fuck. I don't know why you were excited about it just being 6 months. I liked the idea that if we had been 4 years, like I thought, then we would be getting we would see a different Michael Burnham other than just they took away her hair supplies.
Well, she is different because she's resigned to it. Like, I mean, mostly I was happy just that you were wrong.
Okay.
But I'm sorry.
But that's fine.
And you didn't spoil. I was really upset to have it spoiled for me, and it wasn't because
Okay, so I don't know what the fuck Michael Burnham is, and we talked about this on the like the call-in pod that we did in the middle, like we just released in the middle, like late last week. I don't think she's a mystery. I think we're just supposed to like her and kind of go on her journey now and discover something, bits and pieces of what makes her tick. But I don't know. I don't get her. And I don't get her in a fundamental... let me get it all out. And I don't get her in a fundamental way. I don't get whether she is actually dedicated. Like, is she like a dirty mind? Like, does she...
No, I don't think that.
No.
Why would
to win at all... Does she want to win at all costs? Like What's-His-Face told her?
No, I mean, that's... You complained, and I guess we all complained about her big monologue at her tribunal last time.
Yeah, because it was dumb.
Well, that's what said... Well, okay, well... They at least utilized it well enough to make it a plot point.
Right.
That's why she was chosen. And whether it was dumb or not, it was a character monologue. It was her explaining who she is. She believes in the Federation, blah, blah, blah. And I will even bring up faults with like that because, she broke chain of command. That's not Federation at all.
Okay. But I mean, I don't mind that she did something against her values. But that doesn't bother me.
And that's the mystery of why Lorca chose her, and like he's doing this whole machination.
No, I'm not really doing that. I'm saying that I don't get why did she break in to steal? Why did she do all of this shit and steal allergic girl's breath to break into the fucking algae room?
Because she
why?
She knew she
can't just
abide. She's curious.
She can't abide like being left out of the loop. Like if she's going to be, she thinks that she was being played in somebody, like she was going to be a pawn in somebody's scheme.
Right.
She wasn't going to allow that.
Yeah, she's already done enough math that she brings up later. Okay. Like, I know this wasn't a mistake. I wasn't scheduled to be taken on a transport. Mm-hmm. And then, so she's getting to the bottom of it. And also she knows she's like, she doesn't want to be played. It's kind of part of it.
That's what I got, is that she just can't.
But she's going to be, starting in next week, she's going to be on the team.
Yeah, she's on the team, man.
And so I don't... She's not going to the top of the team. She's not first officer.
She's wearing silver.
Yeah, but my whole thing was I was afraid that she was going to be made first officer immediately after because he sneaks her on 4 years later. Says you're right, and then they get to do with more sour stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like you see her fighting. You see her fighting Klingon, so we all know that she's like moved up the depth chart pretty quickly. I don't know. Is this it? Like, I guess is this it?
Is this?
That's the thing with me. Is this it?
Is this what the show?
And I don't know what it is.
Is this it means?
Yeah,
like, is this what the show is?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I liked it.
And I don't know. Like it doesn't, because here's the thing. If it's Next Generation and we're a hangout crew,
It's not
and everybody
Next
would not learn something about her past, and then girl that looks like a Jack Kirby drawing, she'll get an episode, and and Faceburn girl from the pilot will get an episode, and that I can open ended. But it seems like this is, I mean, there's 5 more of these episodes, and then they take like 4 months off.
It's clearly not that.
There was no more. All the interesting Klingon stuff is on pause, or possibly over, or have to be restarted because there's a new status quo.
Well,
but it's a new status quo that they'll have to sort of rebuild up.
It's not over.
So it's is this it? Like, is this what we got? Because I want more than this.
They've been talking up all these reveals and switches that. So no, there's going to be like twists and turns.
But that's not. I don't want a reveal.
I
want a story.
That the story is not up. It's going to change because there's like, I don't know, 12 more episodes. But the story, no, it's not going to be. I don't know.
You do understand that I'm not saying is there more episodes.
No, but I don't understand.
You understand that I'm saying that the story that they've established here, the ship they've built. I don't mean that literally. The ship they built.
What do you think they built so far? Like,
is not that interesting.
This is a pilot episode. This is like a second pilot.
This is the 3rd episode of 6.
This is like a second pilot.
And we've been talking second pilot for a week, so don't say that's like a crazy thing I'm dropping.
No, it's definitely a second pilot. What they've done here, this is a specifically engineered move with their storytelling. Because what they did is they had to have something that was extremely Star Trek and CBS Star Trek friendly for over the air to give people a taste.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave the streaming people the actual story in the 3rd episode. Did she say shit?
I think she did.
So
like when that...
Right. Yeah. So that's like, they couldn't... This could very easily have been... There's no reason whatsoever that we had the first 2 episodes. Quite frankly, this episode could have been... the one they showed over there, minus the shit. Because this is what the show is. This is what the show is right here. The first 2 episodes was just a prelude to all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could have given us all that information that happened in the last 2 episodes in flashbacks or in other ways to convey what happened back then. But this is a deliberate... Their storytelling has been affected by how they're marketing the show with their streaming service, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's been affected by just how... kind of fucked up behind the scenes production were. Like, Brian Fuller wrote 2 scripts for the pilot, the first episode and the second, and then he got fired, so they had to redo it. And then they probably got a bunch of notes to change it again. And it'll probably, I don't know, I expect it might change tones like 3 times as the fucking like.
Do you think that's a strength, or do you see that as a?
No, that's my fear. I'm talking like what I'm afraid of.
Right.
But so far, I have enjoyed it very much.
Right. And I enjoyed, and I'm just not. This is how TV is. I mean, there are some episodes where I'm just like, I just don't enjoy this episode. And that's how I am with this. I'm not ready to dismiss Star Trek Discovery. I just wasn't on, I felt like a slog for me as a viewer through most of this episode. For me.
Yeah.
It felt like a slog.
Because this re-energized me, because I was, maybe it's because I watched the last one twice, and we started, I started it up again, and the stupid CBS app started me in the middle of the first episode, and I was like, wait a minute. This is the 3rd episode? They're just how cheap are they? They're just redoing scenes that they'd already shown. It's like, fuck these people. And then I realized that the app, when I tried to click on the 3rd episode, just started me in the middle of an episode for no reason.
Can I ask you guys something about some continuity stuff you guys might not have the answer to that I don't know? Has the Battle of Anaxar happened yet?
No.
They're not,
okay.
It's not clear.
Well, yet maybe.
6 months of...
Is
it's
it
not clear?
Where are we on our Garth of Izar theories?
Well, the Garth of Izar thing, nobody knows. I think it's all red herrings. Because I feel like the Battle of Axanar... Because it's not canon except in the fan film that it was even a fight with the Klingons. So it could have happened 20 years ago, and Kirk is still talking about it. And the fact that he's learning about it in the academy, to me, going back to non-Discovery stuff, that battle could have happened 20.
Okay, so in your opinion, the Garth of Izar stuff is still pretty thin.
I think it is, yeah.
All right. That's why I want to check in every once in a while to see, like, where are we on our Garth of Izar meter?
Right.
Okay.
And, Brian Fuller explicitly said it wasn't about Garth of Izar,
right.
But then also J.J. Abrams also said that, dude wasn't Khan either, right. And he was.
So the other odds and ends about this, about this episode you guys want to talk about, I kind of wanted to get the shush of the Klingon was a highlight for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because that Klingon was that Klingon had been hunting Targ since before it was potty trained. So it's probably a master at like stalking and hunting, and it was probably really trying to give those other people on the ship, like, be quiet, you're going to get us all killed before it got killed.
But why bring one on there if
we
you
don't
can't
think
control
that
it?
we think that thing's a Targ.
I think that thing was.
I do.
No, I don't. I think that thing was being made.
A genetically engineered thing that they were making on that ship.
That's what I think. But
because they specifically say, like, they find the dead Klingons and they're like, wait a minute, this thing wasn't killed by whatever spore thing that we know.
Right, that just means something could have gotten out of their lab.
They had a Cthulhu on the ship that they created.
Right, that's what I thought.
And in the interim,
so
the Cthulhu got out, like an empty zoo where the lion gets out.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Maybe. Well, time will tell on that. But I don't think
She does say that the Klingons were killed by a different force than the people on the ship.
Right. Oh, clearly.
That's what I.
And it was the.
You say clearly. It was all in the dark. I'm just going by what she said.
No, it was clearly by that two things didn't kill the people. That the Klingons were killed later. They point that out, and that the Starfleet people were killed by the spores, the experiments they were doing. And
it's not a Targ.
Well, a
Targ is just basically a bull.
Nobody knows what a Targ. Nobody's seen a Targ. That looks like a bull to me.
I'm sitting here on Memory Alpha, and I'm looking at 5 different versions of a Targ that's been shown in Star Trek.
I will consent. I was excited, and the jumping to Targ was outside of my purview.
You jumped the Targ.
I jumped the Targ.
Oh man!
But where have we seen Targs before in books?
No, they have. Looks like they have.
We've heard them mentioned a lot. I know.
First off, when
Worf had one, didn't he? And it looked like a dog, right?
Oh my god!
With a spike.
Hold on. You see 3 cards are discovered on the IKS Skomra. I assume that's an Enterprise.
There's Enterprise. I don't know.
There was a pet Targ on board of something in Enterprise. So
it's Enterprise.
2 of them are from Enterprise.
No wonder I got it wrong.
And then you see one on a Deep Space Nine episode at the Klingon wedding.
Oh, really?
No, Molly O'Brien has a favorite plush toy Targ that's shown multiple times. Yeah, but it looks like the Targs that you've seen otherwise too.
You don't.
So
we already have. You don't think Akiva Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman are gonna like forget about a stuffed animal like Keiko
I guess
O'Brien
I would say,
had?
how did the Targ get? I don't know.
I know it sounds dumb. The fact that if it's still dumb. If it's
Klingons bring a Targ onto a ship and it ends up killing their own people.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Yeah,
it's more likely that an experiment got out on a ship that has 3,000.
I saw the next on, and I saw that thing running around, and I just said Targ, and then when the episode happened, I was like Targ, and it doesn't make sense in the episode. You're right.
So he went and grabbed it. So I assume that by the importance of that is that he does that's the double reveal, is that she thinks he's doing sinister shit. He explains it out to her and it doesn't seem as sinister. Well, she agrees to be on board.
Context is for King sounds pretty fucking sinister.
Context is for King.
For me,
that is pretty. Okay, well, and I want to unpack that in a minute. But then the reveal is that when he's with Apollo's wife at the end of the episode, that they represent that the Targ is there. So
right, but I just saw that him as a collector, not like
that's him
being a creep.
That's him establishing sinister shit to win. It's going back to him doing that is what she thought he was doing with the spores in the first place.
Yeah,
so she wasn't wrong about his character,
right?
Yes,
the spores might be just about appearing anywhere, anytame, but he's doing it as
Lorca
a way.
is a complicated dude. I definitely get that.
That's what I like about it.
I like Lorca. I mean, There's no character on here that I hate. That's the thing, is that sometimes
I'm nervous about him. I'm nervous about his character a little bit. Not his performance. He's great.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about when it's all said and done feeling familiar as well.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with him. So, especially now that he is...
Yeah,
that's why I think I created the prediction that he wouldn't be the big bad.
Okay.
But it does seem like he,
My thing is, like, just because it's not blowing my mind doesn't mean I think it's shit, which just feels like you were expecting to have your mind blown. And when it doesn't, you're like, this is not what I want.
I'm going to hold it to that standard.
Well, that's an unreasonable standard.
Well, we thought we were getting Golden Age television version of Star Trek.
Yeah,
I think
we kind of are. It's still baseline Golden Age for me. It just hasn't upped the bar any. It's it might be
Noah Wiley. If this was Noah Wiley's Star Trek, Hugh, we're 3 episodes in. What are you saying to me? Noah Hawley. No.
Noah Hawley. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean,
if this was Brian Fuller's next project, I mean, Brian Fuller has that. Brian Fuller, he's maybe not Mike Trout, but he's a pro player in my Mike Trout theory. And that's what I was excited when they brought him on. I thought we were getting Mike Trout level.
I enjoy his stuff,
here.
But I don't think he.
Wait,
I would say he's the Joey Votto of.
Yeah, Joey Votto's fine with me. But
getting into sports that I don't know.
I know. We're killing you.
Brian Fuller.
But I didn't watch American Gods because I didn't have stars, and it's gonna be a goddamn nightmare, and I have to grab it all. But I will watch it. When you saw the trailers, you're like, even if this show is a goddamn mess, this guy is doing stuff. And I feel like the prospect of a Star Trek, like in the Golden Age, with all of this sort of auspices around it, I thought it was like a lower percentage. I didn't think it was like a 70% certainty that this was going to be like next level stuff. But I felt that there was a chance for it, especially when Brian Fuller was brought on. And I do want to hold it to that standard. I love Enterprise. I don't hold that to the next level standard. But I think that there's good stuff and bad stuff. And with this, but that's the problem, is that I worry that if this whole show, which is one storyline and not episodic, but one storyline, if the storyline is I don't know, I worry that if the storyline is unengaging and a slog, that's the show. There's no more fun to be had, because we're not going to get a cool episode about the red-haired girl and why she's weird. Or
that's
we're all talking about we're all talking about the Daft Punk girl from the Shinzon. We're not
we're still that's talking gone about her and 3 weeks later.
Yeah. There's an even more robot girl on the Discovery.
Yeah, I saw that.
You get a quick.
I guess they're are they?
I think she might be a full robot.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
Because there is a robot somewhere.
I don't see how that jives with.
That absolutely doesn't jive.
With canon, it's gonna fuck shit up. Sure, yeah. But even that is not.
Whoa.
No,
that's a big fuck up.
I'm telling. But
if there's artificial intelligence,
let me finish.
That's a big fuck up. Okay,
that is a fuck up. That is, and I've said things about them throwing Brian Fuller under the bus. That is a fuck up. That would be. We can't blame it on anyone else. Brian Fuller said yes, there will be robots. So if we're gonna deify Brian Fuller, I love the guy. I like American Gods. I love. Like Hannibal, but like this is not like I don't expect that if Brian Fuller were on board this show that I would get like my dick sucked by this episode that I saw this time.
Yeah,
he's still the guy that's beholden to CBS and making a show, and it would have been great. But I thought this was great, so I don't know. Like there's a point to deify, but the robot thing, Klingon thing, is him. He wanted to change the Klingons. We can't say that he would have done it differently. He might have, but we can't say that he wouldn't have. And there will be robots. He said that.
I think it would have been people who take big chances. I'm going to just keep punishing you by using sports analogies. People who hit a lot of home runs strike out a lot. And I think that Brian Fuller is that. And I don't know. I like that. And I worried that the show is going to be safe and familiar, through and through, and that some of us will like it and some of us will hate it for that same reason.
But you hate it because it's not giving you something new.
I hate it because it's boring.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest with you. I hate it because it's boring.
Right, well,
and I wish it wasn't that.
I don't think
I wish that something got me excited or scared.
The most excited thing was that lady saying that she's going to be a captain one day. That
was a weird, exciting thing.
Yeah.
I wish that when she's climbing through the Jeffrey tubes and the rock, and I'm like, this is everything I hate and everything.
What?
Like this
that
right here, everything's
Jeffrey tubes. I liked it. Like, hey, look, we got Jeffrey's tubes.
I did like that.
Hey, look, she's got the yellow card that Adam Rapp gives her. Like, hey, do these computations, and that's straight from the original series where they just have blue painted pieces of wood.
What a weird thing to have to call. Like, you have all this other stuff, but the one you have to hand data through these cards. Yeah, that was cool. That was kind of cool. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
There's coding in the future. How boring is that?
Well, you bet your ass there's coding in the future. The future is boring.
I know, but you don't want to see that. But like, yeah.
Well, for a fucking war prisoner, you're not going to give her hey, here's the thing that can cut all our dicks off. Have at it. You put her in the groundwork.
Okay. I'm just going to say what this show, and that's what I'm laying it out because you made me come to my conclusion on this is that this show is boring.
Okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do to close this out. We'll go back to a thing we used to do on the rules of acquisition. How would you fix this? Because I thought for the framework of the show we have, the script was pretty good. The character work we've agreed is good. So what do you want from it?
I want to be, I don't know, like I want to be thrilled. That's not like you. That's not a thing that's alien to you. Like, I want.
I know. I was thrilled by this.
What was thrilling?
It was engaging. There were characters.
I'm not
good.
All of that. You're okay, but that's not thrilling.
I don't know. Like maybe
that's okay. I'm saying let's be crude about this. I want great sex, and you're like, well, it was great. Like, and I'm
okay.
No,
So
it wasn't
you just
great sex, and you're like, there was a woman and there was a vagina there.
So you're saying that this is the plot of a character that is court-martialed, being stolen to a new ship for mysterious reasons, and having to prove herself is a boring plot to have for this episode.
They somehow
So how would you make it not boring?
The way you framed it was more interesting. Like
that's what happened.
I know, but but you made it sound more interesting than what it actually happened, because what actually happened was there was a lot of meetings and there's a lot of sideways glances and there was a lot of I mean, it just
what is going on? What is going on?
Will you please?
Well, that's when I was like, hey, it's a mystery box. What is going on? But we stopped that.
So I mean, I just think that you're right, Wade. I here's what it is. I just don't like this particular little stretch in the story. Hopefully, more story will unfold to keep me coming back every week. And I think
of course that.
Yes. I think it's this episode felt like a slog because characters are like simulators or stand-ins for the audience, right? So it's no fun if you're following your main character that you're supposed to root for, and her whole existence is a slog. So maybe that's part of the reason why this episode was a slog for me, because it was a slog for Michael Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
And the most interesting thing to have happen to her was at the end, whenever her roommate said, I'm going to be a captain one day. That's probably the most, one of them, other than fucking traveling via spores, that's the most surprising thing on an interpersonal level. Yeah.
Her engagement with that's my bed stuff was just tired, boring character dialogue for you all guys. I don't know. That was
It wasn't delivered in the best.
No. That scene, I don't hate that scene as much as Hugh does, but I do see that it did seem.
Yeah, I mean they're
fine,
they're character types.
Here's what I'm gonna say. What I would do to fix it, and I thought about it for 5 minutes, and this is the best answer, and I'm pretty confident in it. Her being Vulcan-y is fucking lame. Okay, first off, Vulcans let's get over it. We've done, like, if they wanted to have a story about Vulcans, that's interesting. But Vulcans, like, one person made that interesting. One person in history.
T'Pol was pretty cool.
And that's,
come on.
T'Pol was okay over time, but she was also she was the wet blanket of that show, and she worked well in that way. And that her secret sexual desires, her begrudging respect for Archerface, like what I liked about it, and that show is immensely flawed, probably more flawed than any other Star Trek show to date.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched it.
But that guy was so excited, that not the actor, but the Archer was so excited to be doing literally everything he was doing.
Yeah, it was contagious.
And that was infectious.
Yes.
And it was, okay, so Mike, that doesn't work for Michael Burnham. I'm not saying she should be like that. She should actually be less like that. She could be atrociously cynical. She can be she should truly be an unpleasant person to be around, because that would give me something. But this, I'm quietly stoic, and that all of that stuff is, and I'm a Vulcan robot. I'm an emotionless thing, or am I? And that the story, like all of that is just really boring, and it's also familiar. And I also feel like I know what it's treading over. But if she was a character, and I mean like a character, like that would make the show for me, because Saru is obviously not going to be that. And Lorca, I like Jason Isaacs a lot, but he's clearly ripped from the pages of, like, he's a villain that we've seen in everything.
Well,
there doesn't seem to be much you're aware that he's going to be duplicitous and villainous, but you're anticipating that. But you don't have a lot else. And other than that, Jason Isaacs does not bring it to it just by being kind of fun. And I want her to be something.
Well, it's only the third episode, so you might get your wish, James.
Yeah.
That would be great, but I'm just saying that I feel like we've established her character.
Do you guys want to?
And this is not a Sonequa. And I just want to be clear. This is not a Sonequa Martin Green thing. I think she's doing a great job.
Fantastic.
I think this is a flaw from the page.
Yeah, right.
And it's bumming
I like
me
the
out.
writing more than I like her.
Really?
I don't know. Gee, yeah.
What the fuck?
I think she's fine. I don't dislike her, but I like this episode.
Why? Why?
Because it was goddamn fun. It was different. Jesus.
I didn't have any fun this episode. It was.
I don't know.
Wait, we all know that the show is going to be edited and put out. We're going to get 5 calls that are all like with you, and they're all going to hate me. I know that, and so you know that. I'm saying that this is fine. I'm saying that you're right, and I'm right. I just think that, like, I maybe I am holding the show to a higher standard. But this wasn't as fun as I hoped it would be. Hugh said Con Air in space, and that sounded way more fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all hoped for that, but we kind of knew it.
Well, the first couple
right?
scenes, it looked like that might be what we got, but
yeah.
Well, y'all were shitting on the first couple of scenes that they were too tropey, and like, oh, we knew these guys were going to be fighting about it, and like,
yeah, they were tropey.
Yeah, but that was kind of an experience. That was fun. I liked it. I knew it was. I wasn't surprised by it. But fine, that didn't kill it for me.
Well, we should wrap this up somehow. I'm afraid that
What was specifically on the next one? I didn't really watch.
The next one
I watched it, but I don't remember it.
Gabriel Lorca saying, okay, we're not a science ship anymore. We're going to war. And then Adam Rapp's like, what the fuck? And then there's Klingons, apparently. I don't know.
Adam Rapp is not made for this dialogue, by the way.
I thought he was great. Okay, I'm going to shut that down. I liked him a lot.
The dialogue, this is going to be my critique from the first episode to this one. The dialogue is too writerly.
I felt
there's too many, like, and he is not an actor made to say writerly things. He would not be on Deadwood.
I thought
he would not be.
I disagree again. I disagree totally. Like, he was a dick.
I thought that he was. I'm in between. Like, sometimes he would say stuff in the ADR. Sounded like video game dialogue that he would deliver.
Yes.
And then sometimes I felt like his presence and his delivery was like spot on and he was perfect. Like I felt like
I think that the showrunners should have been adapting lines to him.
I felt like it was a little bit uneven, but I think he's going to be a strength in the show. I think he's going to be good. especially since he comes down on this. He's so passionate about the science.
Yeah.
And he's passionate about what the Federation should be, or what he wants it to be. Like, he has his own vision about what the Federation should be, and that's infinitely interesting to me.
I'll ask this question at this point, in this moment, and then we all answer this, and then we can go. If we weren't doing a podcast and this wasn't Star Trek, take those two things off. You don't have any attachment to this show other than it's a show on television.
If it's just called Galaxy Fight or whatever, and
if it's called Galaxy Fight episode 3, we all go around. Do we watch the 4th episode?
I do.
I don't know if I do.
I don't watch
think I
the
do.
4th episode, but I do it. Like whenever I forget about it and be like, oh yeah, Galaxy Fight, I need to catch up on that. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I watched the 4th episode.
Okay, see,
I mean, maybe I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first 3 episodes of The Expanse, but it's a sci-fi show and the characters are great.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I don't think it's totally shitty. Yeah. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I watch it.
I think I would watch it.
My damningness of this show is that it's just pretty good, though. That's like my critique of it.
Yeah, because you got look at all the other shows that you could be watching if you weren't watching this. That right now, because we have a lot of new television coming back, and a lot of it's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't seen 1 minute of The Deuce. I'm behind on Vice Principal. Like, I'm behind on a lot of prestige TV.
Sure. Yeah, well, I got derailed by Ken Burns' Vietnam.
Well,
I haven't saw those, but I would be like, oh, The Deuce is. I mean, I love The Deuce, and I'm like, oh, I need something in space. Okay, I'll watch this show.
No, you watch The Expanse.
No, The Expanse isn't on right now.
That's true.
So yes, I'd watch this show.
All right. Well, you guys do we want to plug our Patreon now?
Or check us out on Kickers of Elves, patreon.com/Kickers of Elves.
Yeah, we do. I mean, if this is the only thing that you've watched us, we do have our bread and butter so far in the pod world has been we are more than halfway through a critical review of Deep Space Nine. That's where the real shit that we do is
the rules of acquisition.
Yes,
check out that podcast.
Yes, and we will have more podcasts coming up. This is this is sort of the second one that we have worked on. But
if you're mad that we shit on this show all the time, we actually like Deep Space Nine quite a bit. Most of the time.
Still shit on episodes. So.
Yeah. I mean, everybody shits on some episodes.
Well, now that people have checked out our Patreon, James, you want to give any sort of plugs?
Yeah, I do. I have a personal YouTube page that I work pretty hard on that I'm just getting started on. So there's only like 2 very long videos. It's political in nature, and I'd definitely love you to go watch it. It's called Forever James's. I have a video up from last week on cultural Marxism, and hopefully I should have a video out in a couple of weeks before I go to California, which you don't know when I'm going to California. But nonetheless, Forever James's on YouTube. Check it out.
Awesome. I've got a daily comic strip at crimesagainsthughesmanatees.com. So if you like comics, check that out. Punch that into your Google machine or search engine of choice. You can find it on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, etc.
Give us a call at 917-408-3898. Give us, all your opinions about whatever you feel like opinionating about. Or if you're international, you can record something and send it to us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. And, try to keep it under 3 minutes because that's when the voicemail cuts off. But we'll listen to that too. And we may play it on air.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening to A Discovery Home Companion. We hope that you join us next week when episode 4 drops. All right. Till next time, 3 to beam out.
Subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Caster or Fuckcast or Podsucker. Review us on iTunes. Also grab a bit of fame for yourself by calling us at 917-408-3898 and leaving us a message. We play that shit on air. Or email us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. Also, listen to our Deep Space Nine podcast, Rules of Acquisition. It is pretty amazing, but you may not yet be ready for its awesome amazingness. Assess your personal awesomeness appropriately.